It's David Ducker coming back at you, and today we're going to be talking about religion in RPGs. Now, the religion of your game world could take many different forms. It could have a real power to it. You could actually have miracles going on in your setting. Or you could have merely philosophy to fall back upon. Or you could have a combination. But the religion of your game is to tend to the spiritual health and well-being of your populace. That's one factor. The other factor, if your gods are indeed real, then it is to carry out their dictates and mandates and to shape the world according to their divine plan, possibly including miracles, possibly not including miracles. So there's a tremendous variety, and there's everything in between in every combination as well. And you could just imagine, you could have these two nations next door to each other. One says religion is to provide spiritual support and relief to our people. The other says religion is to enforce the will of God. And they go to war, or they don't go to war, but they have tense relations. They have stereotypes against each other. So religion can tremendously shape the storylines, but also the culture. You know, if you are in the hierarchy, if you're clearly below this divine being and his priests are above you, that's going to impact the whole culture, that you have these stratified layers, that there is a chain of command and it leads up to a divine being. That'll be a very different culture compared to one where there is no divine being, where we have philosophy, where we're saying, just treat each other right, just keep things moving along, just promote your own happiness and growth and self-interest, but not at the sake of others. And a philosopher or a priest in that kind of religion might not actually hold very much power. He might not be very rich. He could be just a hermit. Or maybe he's just middle class. Whereas in the other religion, like, he could be the leader of your whole government, of your whole military. Whereas it's less likely for a philosopher to get up to that point. But what if they did? Now that could be a great storyline to incorporate into your game. In fact, in Return of the Runefangs, we had a philosopher of seizing control and trying to throw down the theocrats who worshipped gods on the other side. The man who said, you don't need a god, you only need to be true to your own heart. Versus the men who said, that is blasphemy. We know it is blasphemy, for our God has told us so. And of course, the conflict drove the whole campaign. And this is, not just fantasy where you have miracles, but this is also in space opera. This is in modern settings, all kinds of interpretations of cults of Cthulhu versus cults of Sathagwa, if I can pronounce his name. And, what are the differences between those cults, between how they hold power, who holds it, how they wield it, why they send their men off to do what. And bring it back to fantasy again. You could even have the illusion of miracles. It could be that your priests are just very skilled in magic. And they say magic comes from the gods, but maybe it doesn't actually come from the gods. Maybe that, they're just mages who cloak their abilities under this web, not only of mysticism, but of divine power. And, you think there's a difference between divine and arcane powers, between miracles and magic, because that's what they tell you, but maybe they're exactly the same. And, that secret or that conspiracy could drive your whole campaign, your whole plot. Especially when you have a defector from this religion who comes out and says, there is no God that we're able to actually communicate with. They're saying they're getting these dictates, but they're just coming from our high priest, from our pope, from our magi. which ironically, magi now does mean arcane individual, where originally the term was that of a priest of Zoroaster. Um, so you can blend all of these different areas and have the doubt, the confusion, the people who think they're certain about something, but it might not actually be that way. Mystery cults where, like Scientology, where as you get higher ranking into the cult, they reveal more secrets about the cult until finally you realize that the whole organization is to venerate Yog Sothoth, and and he will devour the world someday if only the cult can spread far enough. But only the leaders of the cult know that. Everyone else thinks it's just a philosophical ideal, you know, that that we must spread the dictates, that we must sacrifice of ourselves for the good of others. Um, but actually, all of the good goes to Yog Sothoth. So I just wanted to kind of ramble about religion in your game, how it can stir plots. You can have different religions, how it could have a cosmological effect. There could be miracles, or there could not be, or there could be the illusion of miracles, where you have magic, psychic powers like the Jedi. The Jedi, they're completely cloaked in religion, in philosophy, in mysticism, but maybe they just have psychic powers and they're saying that it comes from the force, when actually you can be perfectly fine having just secular psychic powers, and you don't really have to think about it as the view, the lens of the force and the dark side and the light side. No, I just have psychic powers. Like, it has nothing to do with morality. But the Jedi will tell you that it does, and so too will the Sith. So let me know what you think about religion in your RPGs in the comments below. And until I see you again, good day and good gaming.